Sydney is rushing vaccine supplies to hard-hit suburbs as Australia suffers its worst day of the pandemic. There are more than 750 new cases nationwide. The bulk of them are from New South Wales. About 500,000 doses of Pfizer will be distributed to areas most affected by Sydney's outbreak. They will be given to people under 40 over the next 2 weeks. Officials are scrambling to speed up vaccination rates before considering an end to the current lockdown. They want to inoculate 70% of the population by the end of October.
I know these are challenging times, but I also can see the light at the end of the tunnel. These are difficult times for all of us, and the next few weeks will be hard. But know that once we hit those high vaccination rates, life will feel much better. Life will look much rosier.
Danielle Robertson joins us live from Sydney for more. Danielle, finally some hope, if you can imagine it, that the lockdown might be eased, but it all hinges on these vaccinations.
Yeah, it does seem that there is a little bit of hope. Vaccinations being sold as the ticket to a new life here, and people do want to get on board. In the last 24 hours alone, we've seen 132,000 jabs go into arms, and we are expecting inoculations to reach 6 million in this state by the end of the month. At that stage, the Premier says we are going to ease restrictions by September, particularly for those who are already vaccinated. But what that means exactly and what those activities are is still a little bit unclear. She hasn't given details on that. We do know that the state wants to reach the 70 to 80% mark before we can open up a little bit more and have a few more freedoms. But many epidemiologists are warning that talk about more freedoms is too premature at this stage, particularly considering that we have reached our highest number of COVID cases, more than 680 COVID cases today, with many saying that we have to get that down before we can open up. So now it's really about this balance between continuing on this rate of vaccinations and trying to still drop the COVID numbers.
And this endeavour is not being helped then by some people that are continuing to get caught for breaking lockdown rules.
Yeah, I mean, this crackdown has been well known across the world. We have seen police on the ground, in the air. We've seen the Australian Defence Force as well. Authorities on horseback and roadblocks have been set up all across the state. Police today said that they issued more than 680 infringement notices, really a sign that people here still aren't listening to the rules. What we are seeing, though, is this crackdown is causing a little bit of frustration among the population here, and there is a bit of a lockdown fatigue, and the rules here are very tight. I mean, some of the infringements that were handed out were people playing soccer in the park, people travelling into areas that they weren't supposed to, and many for not wearing a mask. What they are trying to do, though, with these fines that could now be up to $5,000 is deter people from breaking the rules, but it does seem that there are still murmurs of anti-lockdown protests that could be looming again in this state. So people are getting frustrated with the rules. So now it's all about balancing the anger and frustration that is building with also trying to drop those case numbers and get the vaccination rates up. So a bit of contrasting views across the state now that are becoming more apparent.
Well, thanks for getting us up to speed. Danielle Robertson speaking to us from Sydney.